Going straight in.
Going straight in. I'm coming in hot.
Coming in hot.
That's it. It is Kimberly's Revolution on the We the People Podcast Network. We are grateful that you are joining us this afternoon, and we are grateful for the amount of Facebook and YouTube hits that we've been getting. How many Facebook hits last week on the
Millions.
34,000 on We the People Podcast Network. We were joined today by a man who I've been lucky enough to talk to on several occasions. He is the hope for New York State. Rob Astorino is the former county commissioner in Westchester County, downstate. He ran against Governor Cuomo in 2014. He had a tremendous amount of upstate votes. I mean, you really gave Governor Cuomo a run for his money. Rob Astorino, Republican nominee for governor in 2022. And here he is. He's on the thruway. He is not driving, and he is not in a Tesla. Hey, how are you?
I hope I don't come in hot somewhere over here, but yeah, I'm on 90 West, and that's why, of course, I'm wearing my seatbelt. But it's good to be with you. How are you doing?
It is good. I was just saying, how is it that we had you in studio a couple of times, back 2014, 2015, and Rob Astorino never looks any older, but I do. I don't know how that happens.
You look the same. You look great. You guys are great, and this state's not great, that's for sure. The state is...
Well, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, the state is messed up. The name of the show today is Authentic Accomplished Astorino. He is the great hope for New York State. He's AAA. When you're down and out,
You call AAA.
You call AAA. You call the authentic, the accomplished Astorino, because I've got to tell you, this great state is in a shambles. It is coming off a huge scandal. I don't even know, Rob, where we start with fixing it. How do you fix Albany? How do you fix this broken state?
Well, again, it starts with an election. I mean, voters have to make ultimately a decision in this state in what direction they're going to go, right? Because we have been putting up with so much corruption, such high taxes, people are leaving in record numbers, and it's sort of like, that's just the way it's supposed to be, I guess. That's in the minds of some people. In the minds of over 1 million people, it's not. That's why they've left the state. But there's so many people who feel like they're a prisoner here because they have roots here, they have family here. Nobody wants to leave. I mean, I love this state. So it's time to fight and fix it. And, we do that in a lot of different ways, but the best way we do that is through elections. And I think we've got the best opportunity that we're going to have in a generation to have a sea change really in Albany. We're going through one right now. Governor Cuomo is going to be out by the end of next year. That'll be 3 straight governors that are leaving in somewhat disgraceful, at least with a cloud hanging over their head. But 2 of them have resigned, and Cuomo. Leaders in the Senate, Dean Skelos. We've had the bad times here in New York, but all 3 are gone. I don't think Kathy Hochul is the answer. She's been tied at the hip with Cuomo now for almost 7 years. She is part and parcel of his administration. She was touting him all over the place for 7 years, and now she's like, wait, Andrew, I'm not sure I know the guy you're talking about. Insane. So, recently I've been going around the state. Obviously, I'm running for governor, but I'm talking about how do we fix the fundamentals, like ethics changes. We've got to make sure that there's independence, and there isn't right now, in how our elected officials should be held accountable. That's why Cuomo got away with murder back in 14 and 13 when the Moreland Commission was looking. He literally controls the agency that was investigating, so he stopped it. That obviously has to end. So I've made recommendations on how we should strengthen our ethics system, which would hold more people accountable. 2 of the big things, I think, term limits, number 1, for state elected officials. And we did that in Westchester. We enacted a term limits law when I was county executive. So we're walking the walk. The other thing is the IG has to be separate from the governor's office, because right now the IG reports to the governor. that is a complete and utter conflict of interest. Which is why he's been able to get away with everything.
You could argue with your boss. He holds your job in his hands, right? I mean,
exactly. So we would have an independent commission, bipartisan, appointed by the governor, but then they're completely separate and they do not report to him in any way, shape, or form. The other thing too is all of these investigations have to be seen through completion, not just the Assembly and the Senate, but also the federal and local potential criminal investigations of Cuomo. And it's not just Cuomo leaving that shuts the door on all this. It is Cuomo leaving in disgrace, but it's also any accomplices that took part in this. Everybody has to be held accountable. So it's not as tempting next time for them to try to do something like this. I talked about election integrity, where we've got to strengthen our election system, make sure, and this might sound like a joke to people, but it's already on the docket in Albany and in New York City and already implemented in other cities where non-citizens can vote in elections. I mean, think about that for a second.
No, I don't want to think about that for a second. You know what
exactly.
I don't want? I want people to show IDs to vote. I mean, in New York City, they're making you show proof of vaccination, but you can vote and you don't even have to be from this country.
Well, that's exactly right.
And we get a grip.
Hey, Rob, can you put the convertible top up on your car there?
What's that?
It's a little windy over there.
I wasn't going to jump out the car. Don't worry about it.
I'm going to vote for you, Rob, just because of that power tie you're wearing.
Thank you. The non-citizens, but also we want to make sure that the so-called chain of custody, so the ballots, we know who has them, who authorized them, and who's been holding them along the way. That's ballot harvesting. And obviously, you mentioned it, Kimberly, showing voter ID, photo ID to vote is a non-starter. It should be with everybody. It's a no-brainer, and
Sure.
Things like that haven't even been implemented, and they won't, the Democrats, if they get their way.
Of course not. Rob Astorino, who is running for New York State governor. What was your first thought in March when the allegations came down about Andrew Cuomo and the sex abuse allegations? Did you say, yeah, I mean, as an insider into New York City politics surrounding area, had you heard the rumors? Had you heard, the behind closed door talk?
All I know is he is a bully. He has been a bully his whole life. He's been corrupt. He's a nasty human being. And by the way, I'm not saying this to pile on. There were too many people that acquiesced to his behavior and, turned a blind eye or benefited from it, quite frankly. And on both sides, both parties.
Right.
And
right. I mean, you can see that with the retaliation.
Yeah. And so, unfortunately, too many people in Albany, on both sides of the aisle, played footsies with him and let it happen. But look, the sexual harassment stuff, I think those 11 women, they certainly identified what happened. And the problem that we have now, but the Democrats set up, so they now have to play by the rules, and now they don't like it, is this whole everyone must be believed, everyone must be heard, but we need proper investigation of charges, we need due process, and that's important. I don't care who it is. And so when all this started against Cuomo, I actually said give him the presumption of innocence, but if he did it, then he obviously has to face the consequences. And that none of that was afforded to others, especially Republicans, where like Brett Kavanaugh. But that's a dangerous system to have set up. So he's the one that signed the sexual harassment in the workplace law. It was his right hand in that pen that signed it into law. So for Cuomo to sit there and say, I really didn't know what this means. I'm sorry, but I didn't do enough. You know what?
Yeah, you can't make that shit up there.
You can't.
No.
I mean, you're Italian descent, yes?
Oh, it's disgraceful what he said. So disgraceful. I can't tell you how many Italians came up to me and, all of us, if we had the wooden spoon that our grandma used to hit us with, or our mothers, we would have smacked them across the face for saying something like that. It's disgraceful.
It is disgraceful. Rob Astorino, who is running for governor, is on the show with us. He officially filed, Governor Cuomo, soon to be ex-Governor Cuomo, officially filed his resignation papers, but not before he decided that he was going to commute and pardon 10 felons, 3 that were tied in connection with killings, brutal killings. These are violent criminals that he pardoned and commuted their sentence. And I think of all the times and all the people under the Bail Reform Act, how many violent criminals he put back out on the street. But yet Rob Astorino, on his way out, it's another middle finger to the citizens who are law-abiding of this state.
And this is what has been happening with Cuomo, his parole board, which has released cop killer after cop killer. Cuomo and his clemencies and pardons for cop killers and drug abusers, drug dealers. The crime bill that we had, the no cash bail, get out of jail free card, this is owned by the Democrats. It has been an unmitigated disaster. It's why cities like Rochester, Buffalo, Albany, Troy, New York City, Syracuse, you name it, have exploded with violent crime. It's a point A to point B reason. It's the no cash bail law, which gave no discretion, and are just letting them in and out, and has enabled and empowered criminals. And Cuomo and Hochul owned that because they touted that. This was their big thing, big achievement. So again, when Hochul goes around the state and says, I really don't know much about this guy, Andrew Cuomo, you do, and you own it, and things like no cash bail are what you consider to be your biggest achievements. So I really want to see how they do, a little tap dance to get away with this. And I'm sure the media is going to give her a pass for a long time, but I'm not, and they shouldn't, because she's running for governor now, and her record and her quotes and her support for Cuomo and the administration is all fair game.
Right, exactly. Your thoughts, you tweeted out something the other day, Rob Astorino, that I thought was very interesting, was that our crisis at the southern border. I mean, we've got a couple of foreign policies that are out of whack right now, but on the southern border, you've mentioned that there had been flights coming in from the southern border with thousands of immigrants, and this has been going on since April into Westchester County. Is that true?
It's not even up for debate, and nobody's denying it. So, they can't deny what I see either. So, it is factual what is happening, and I broke this story last Friday.
Right.
And I had been tipped off about it. These flights were smaller flights that were coming into the county airport for quite a while. It was recently, over the last several weeks, where these big 737s were coming in at times, most of the time, late at night or when the airport was closed.
What?
So it was clandestine. It was literally in the cover of darkness. And they would have these large coach buses. And it's on my Twitter, at Rob Astorino. You can see the video from the other day, actually, where I was able to get video of them coming off the plane and onto the buses. Nobody knows where any of these, and when they say they're children, by and large, these are late teenagers in 17, 16.
Right.
They are adults also coming off these planes. And the fundamental question that we had to ask was, and of course we're getting stonewalled and poo-pooed and called a racist, because we actually want to know who and what is coming into our communities. And
who's paying for it?
Well, yeah, that's part of it too, but it's about public safety,
right,
public health, and just as important, the public's right to know. And it's like seemingly either the federal government, the state government, and in this case, Westchester County government could care less. It's like you have no reason to even ask those questions, you racist. That's, of course, their response. But they
awful.
say that so people don't ask the questions.
Yes.
We have a right to know, especially in a pandemic.
Well, I'm thinking, why the small Westchester County Airport? Why not fly them into JFK or, why LaGuardia? Why not one of those airports?
Well, it's a good question. And of course, nobody will say why. But
I think we know why.
Well, all of these flights are originating in El Paso or McAllen, Texas. And then from there, they go to different locations, including Alexandria, Louisiana, which is a large hub where a lot of these migrants are basically being placed for a period of time and then put on planes and dispersed. And if we have a crisis at the southern border, and we do, and what's happening in Texas and Arizona is they're being overwhelmed. But what's happening is the Biden administration is making it exponentially worse by taking it and bringing the southern border crisis throughout the country. And again, when people know where they're going, who's paying, have they been tested for COVID? Because we as citizens are being not only get vaccines, yes, but also to wear our masks, to stay home, to have economic crisis fallout, to maybe go back into quarantines they're doing in New Zealand and other countries now. And yet when we ask questions about non-citizens that are illegally and are being put in communities, any questions are off limits. I mean, it's complete and utter insanity.
You can't ask those questions. It absolutely is. He's authentic, accomplished Astorino.
No,
He's running for governor in 2022.
AAA, I like that. I hope I don't get that right on I-90 either.
He's AAA. Yeah, we hear that there was a huge, and I don't know if you heard about this, it was a huge tour bus that crashed. Was it over the weekend, I think, on the thruway?
Around Syracuse.
We hear there were 57 of those undocumented immigrants that were on that bus. Did you hear that?
I didn't know who was on the bus.
I know.
I heard about it because obviously it got a lot of attention, and Dutchess County is fairly close to where I live. But, I mean, it's a horrible tragedy no matter how you look at it. But one thing is, these coach buses came in, and it was interesting because I called this press conference on Friday at the county airport. I had documented all of the flights, the tail numbers, the time they arrived, where they originated. I mean, it was without dispute. And yet headlines are Astorino claims. What am I claiming? I'm not claiming anything. Here's actually what is happening in front of your eyes. What I want to know are the following questions, which our own government refuses to answer. So, sometimes you get activist reporters who are not even seeing the story in front of their face. But I did tell, and the ones that showed up were actually very good. And I told them there's a flight coming in actually 30 minutes from now after this press conference. Here's the tail number of the flight. Why don't you go follow where it comes? And you know what? Like on cue, the minute the press conference ended, 3 major J&R Tour coach buses came right past us into the airport, getting ready to pick everybody up.
Wow.
It's like an episode of A Few Good Men there.
Right.
You need Tom Cruise to get the journals out.
Exactly. Well, I know you're on the road. I know you're going from town to town. Are you going to make it to the state fair? I mean, I just want to make sure that everyone that goes knows they can smoke weed at the state fair.
Weed there now.
Nothing else important going on in the state, Rob, but by golly, we can smoke weed at the state fair. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, corn dog and a joint. Sounds like a fun state fair.
That's my idea of a Saturday night. It is great to have you join us. I know you're on a time frame.
Thanks,
I appreciate your time. Rob Astorino running for governor in 2022. Someone has got to fix this mess. He is our next great hope.
Call AAA.
We appreciate you. The AAA is the authentic, accomplished Astorino. He's our guy. We appreciate you. Thank you.
I thank you both very much, and I ask people to go on, to my Facebook and to social media. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, which I love doing these little videos, but also
your
Twitter.
Kids know how to do them.
Well, they're the ones doing them with me. Yeah, I have my 11-year-old recording and editing.
It's the We the People podcast network.
Yeah.
Good.
All right. See you later. There he is. He's a family man. He's from downstate, and he's running for governor. We'll see you later. Drive careful there on the thruway.
You got it.
All right. There he goes. There he is. Yeah. So, Rob Astorino running for governor there has to be changes, and he's the guy that can make them, I think. And I appreciate his time. This was a man who came in studio 3 or 4 times when he was running for governor. We couldn't even get Governor Cuomo on the phone. Carol, I think his driver keeps opening the window. Deborah, watching from St. Pete, we need to ask organizations that are bringing the immigrants here if they plan to get them tested and make sure they attend the hearings. Listen, nobody even knows where they're coming from. They're coming into the Westchester County Airport in these large, and the reason why they're avoiding the large airports is because they want to come in without any kind of issues, without any kind of problems, without anyone asking questions. If you think it's not happening, and if you think they're not busing these undocumented immigrants that haven't been tested for COVID up to Rochester and surrounding communities, you're insane, because that's exactly what they're doing. And now, and I hate to even bring this up, Patty Bardeen, I've always liked Rob Astorino. I have too, because he's always been accessible, right? He's always been the guy that said, if I can make time for you, I will. If I can't get there in person, I'll call you. He always made time to come in. But of course, back in the day, I was on a huge radio station. Our afternoon show was #1 in the ratings. You couldn't even, touch us. But he made time for a small podcast, Kimberly's Revolution.
Small.
He made time for the We the People podcast network, which is really just kind of new and coming into our own. Rob Astorino makes time. He didn't need to spend 15 minutes with us.
No.
But he did spend 15 minutes with us.
We thank him for his time.
Because he appreciates that everyone, listen, can we stop making the same mistakes with Democratic leaders in this state? When are we ever going to learn our lesson?
We're not.
Well, look what we have for a mayor here in Rochester.
Yeah.
Look what we have.
People keep getting paid, so they keep voting.
Carnage on the streets of Rochester every single night. Mm-hmm. And a mayor that's MIA because she's under multi-count indictments for not only her actions, but her husband's in trouble. This is what we have to deal with. I want to talk about the booster.
Should we go pay some bills first?
And by the way, I just want to say that Rob Astorino is on Twitter at Rob Astorino. You can tweet at him and thank him for coming on our show. If you see this today, please tweet him and thank him for coming on our show. And again, you can find him at is it Rob Astorino? At Rob Astorino on Twitter. You can find him.
All right.
So, we can pay some bills. We can tell you that the show is brought to you by Fantuzzo's Acupuncture. You want to make sure you stop out at Fantuzzo's. They will make you feel good with all their acupuncture. And of course, so check in to see them. We also want you to check in to see Taylor at 500 Help. They do duct cleaning and air conditioning and heating and plumbing and home energy. It is Taylor Heating and Plumbing. It's sticky outside. You don't want to be sticky. So call Taylor 500 Help.
Right.
They will make you less sticky. Their air conditioning they put in here in 530 Titus Avenue, and they did a fantastic job. Because we are not sticky.
We are not sticky.
But it is muggy outside in Rochester, and Taylor 500 Help will help you with all your essentials. And they also have water heaters from Bradford White Water Heater. Since 1947, Taylor has been helping you. And Precision Lawn and Garden with everything they have at Precision Lawn and Garden, providing Rochester and the surrounding areas professional sales, service, and parts since 1969. Precision Lawn and Garden with the Big Daddy zero-turn lawnmowers. They've got chainsaws. They've got new models, on sale models. And of course, if you want your driveway looking great and you need to have it sealed before winter comes, Express Sealers, because nothing makes your curb appeal look nicer than a freshly sealed driveway. Express Sealers, 645-2010. That's 645-2010. So I'm always afraid to talk about vaccinations because YouTube
get the boot.
Because YouTube has a habit of completely denying you access.
We love YouTube. They're the greatest thing ever.
We do love YouTube. What happened last time? What happened last time, Austin? And by the way, thank you to Fitz at Rockvox Productions.
Medical disinformation.
Because we talked about the vaccinations?
Yes.
Because we said that
I believe somebody questioned their validity.
But the ability to work?
Yes.
And so they canceled us. Okay.
Vaccinations work fantastic.
That's why they want you to go get a booster.
Right. We need boosters.
Here's what I don't like. I don't like that they told us once we get the shot, right? Once we get the shot, once everyone is vaccinated,
it's all going to be gone.
It's going to be gone. You're not going to have to wear a mask. You're not going to need it. It's freedom for everyone.
Right. Oops.
They lied.
Guess what? Everybody's going to have to
everybody's going to have to
get the COVID. at some point. That's
You-
the only way it's going to go away.
You had the COVID.
I did have the COVID.
You're sitting here talking to us now. You're alive and well.
Yep.
They said that people would need boosters that were immunocompromised, right? That obviously had health issues
Sure.
above and beyond the normal, health issues. They said that those people only last week
Would need a booster.
you're going to need a booster if you have health issues.
All right.
Today, everyone
Even short people need a booster.
everyone needs a booster.
Everyone, even tall people. I don't need a booster.
But here's the thing. I can't. How many of these non-factual statements are we going to sit and listen to and go, they're right. They're right. You know what? Once I'm vaccinated, I wanted to wear a mask. Guess what? Now you have to wear a mask.
Yep.
You're vaccinated. Oh, guess what? Vaccination isn't exactly everything it's lived up to. So now you need a booster. How often are we going to have a booster? So boosters starting for everyone, they're saying. And I'm amazed about it. You're right, Stryker. Amazed how that's changed. Yeah, so quick.
There's a reason why Pfizer's stock is at an all-time high.
Patty says it's so funny because you question how if they work and we find out they're not working and you need a booster, but they're quick to shut us down very quickly. And I hope they don't on YouTube. I am one of these people. I'm saying if you want a vaccination for your own peace of mind,
Sure.
have at it. It is your life. It is your body. My body, my choice, right? My body, my choice. Not so much. That doesn't work so well on the opposite end of things. Hate to talk about abortion, but they can kill babies all day long. And no one ever, has an issue with that on the Democratic side. But by God, go get your vaccination. It's not your choice and it's not your body. Get your vaccination or you won't get to go sit down in a restaurant and eat like the rest of us. And I know
they'll make your life so miserable that you'll have to do it.
So now they're shouting booster. It was how many months ago? 18, almost 2 years ago. I mean, I don't know. I can't do the math. 18 months ago, 19 months ago. When we get a vaccination, everyone needs to take it. But I think Fauci said at the time, hey, guess what? A mask won't help you. Didn't Fauci initially say that back in March of 2020?
Well, that's because
wearing
what the
a
science
mask
says.
won't help you.
Yeah.
Then he was, how many times can you be wrong before people stop listening to you? Because it's like he changes his tune and everyone, whatever he says. Well, he was wrong last time.
He's wrong every time.
How many times can you be wrong before people finally develop a brain and start thinking for themselves? And again, if you want a vaccination and you think it's going to help you, fine. Get all the boosters and vaccinations, but you have to question why. I mean, think about all the shots you've ever had in your life. You've had measles, you've had mumps, you had polio. And as a kid, you have to get boosters, I think, at certain ages, like it's like 4 or 5. You've got to get more boosters by the time you're 8, maybe 12, as you're going into school. I know that the Gardasil, the HPV vaccination for girls and boys, I guess, my daughter, it was a series of 3. Okay, I get that. But then you're good. Why in the world for a virus that is going to act like a virus do you have to get a booster after 4 months?
I think they're saying 8 months, but yeah, that's the point.
My mom just got her shot. When I took her to Walmart, I'm trying to think when I took her to Walmart, maybe February or March, I took her to get her vaccination. It was a series of 2. She got her vaccinations. She's already worried that she's going to need a booster. And I'm like, Mom, calm down. You're healthy as a horse. You'll probably outlive all of us, with my luck. And so, but now I think it's excess worry for the aged. Right now, all my mom can think about is, am I going to have a booster? Am I going to have to wear my mask out? Because I've taken her to the casino. She's not worn a mask. By the way, I took her to the casino last Friday.
Cha-ching.
$1,500.
Again?
She won $1,500.
Damn.
Joy says, I know someone is fully vaccinated and wears a mask everywhere, is sick and tested positive yesterday. I think that wearing a mask prohibits your immune system from working properly.
Yeah.
I'm not a doctor, but I'm just saying You freaking wear a mask and constantly wash your hands is breaking down your immune system. It's not going to be able to fight for itself. And you wonder why there's so many sick kids in the hospital. It's not because of COVID. It's because of a respiratory virus not associated with COVID. And why do you think that is? It's because we put those, masks over our kids for months and months and months. And now their immune systems aren't working as well as they should. I mean,
they got to go swim in the Genesee River.
Right? To kind of get coated in germs.
Throw them in the river.
As humans, we've survived millions of viruses. We're going to survive this.
I swam in the river.
Have you?
Oh, yeah. We used to swim in the river.
But did you jump off the locks into the Erie Canal?
No.
You didn't do that?
We used to go down to Rattlesnake Point there in Irondequoit and walk down, and we used to watch the salmon and go in the river.
And go in the Genesee River.
Yeah.
Knowing what was in the Genesee River.
We were kids.
My brothers learned how to swim in the Elk River, which is in Knoll, Missouri.
There you go.
Not to be confused with Noel. It's spelled the same. But yeah, that's what you do as kids. You develop immunity. You eat dirt and you swim in rivers that are kind of filthy. Sue says, great win for Lois. Happy QVC shopping. Don't tell me about it, Sue. Don't tell me about it.
Well, I think Dr. Fauci at this point, look, this was the biggest no-win situation any one person could be put into, but he will go down as the most incompetent public service figure of all time.
I don't disagree with that.
I
don't disagree with that at all.
What has he done that's actually been right? We had a lockdown.
That didn't work.
You didn't need a lockdown.
Look at New Zealand and Australia right now.
The correct answer was everybody has to get this thing, and just everybody's going to get it. And then the vaccinations will help,
eventually.
Getting vaccinated, if the vaccine doesn't have a side effect for you, but getting the vaccination supposedly makes your infection a little easier to handle.
But it should not be done in the manner that it's being done. It should not be done like it's being done now. Things should not be handled this way. And there was a guy, I think it was, I don't know, some prime minister of Australia or president or some health, guy, a politician in Australia that said, you will not put your mask down while you're drinking or eating. You will take a drink of your whatever drink you have, whatever beverage, and you will take a drink and then you will put your mask back up over your face, and you will take a bite of food and you will put your mask up over your face. These are mandates in Australia and New Zealand, and they're across the board ridiculous because of the way they're being handled. I mean, that is the law. That is what you're going to do, or you're not going to go out in New Zealand and Australia. And the people are just like,
Absolutely insane. It's just completely insane. What are these people thinking? I mean, is it just that they're saying, well, let's just see what these crazy people will do? We'll just keep making up even more dumb shit.
Because here's what we've learned.
And we'll see if they can do that. But it's not, it doesn't even go to that.
The mask.
They actually believe this crap.
Isn't going to outsmart the virus.
No.
The vaccination isn't going to outsmart the virus.
No.
The lockdowns aren't going to outsmart the virus.
You're going to have to get it. Everybody's going to have to get it, at least to some degree.
It's just like the common cold that you get. That is the only way it's going to end. That's the only way that it will lose its strength.
Yeah.
Is that if it doesn't, have the ability to ramp up.
And we may have to all get it twice. Sign up again.
You know how many colds and respiratory viruses I've had over my life? Too many to count.
Yeah.
It's what but again, I really hope that YouTube, and who knows if this is going to be on YouTube. I don't know.
Go get your vaccination.
Kathy says Fauci botched the AIDS crisis and he still has his job 30 years later. I know.
The man is 80 years old. Why does he still have a job?
Here's what I can't figure out. I mean, if I was a failure in radio for as many years as I've been in radio, and I've been fired, but it was never for bad ratings or failure to gain listeners or to have number one ratings. It was never because of that.
Mm-hmm.
I always succeeded when it came to doing everything that the upper management wanted of me. We had the highest commercial rates. We had the highest ratings. But I can't imagine, did I just need to fail to keep my job? I'm confused. Because you look
If you're
around
a Democrat, yeah.
and you see so many failures, people failing to do their job properly, yet they're getting paid a tremendous amount of money and keeping their job.
Yeah. Mayor Warren will be commissioner of something.
Look at that.
Yeah.
She's still getting paid.
Yeah.
She's been brought up on multiple indictments. Her husband was a drug dealer that took their daughter on drug deals. She still is getting paid by the city of Rochester, and she's a failure and still getting paid.
Yeah. She'll make $200,000 a year next year doing a different job.
Still getting paid.
She'll be commissioner of public works.
Speaking of Biden,
Something.
and 8 months in office, and Biden has created the worst foreign policy crisis in generations.
Yep.
Can you think of a worse foreign policy crisis?
Thousands of Americans
Right
stranded.
now. Thousands of Americans stranded in Afghanistan.
Yeah, we care more about
Thousands.
the immigrants coming into this country than we do the Americans that aren't here.
We care more about finding a plane for the immigrants
Right.
at the southern border and flying them to Westchester County in the dark of night, and then putting them on buses to ship them across to every city in New York State than we care about the people that can't get on board a flight in Afghanistan. But let me show you a picture from yesterday. I don't see any Americans on that flight, and I don't see any women, and I don't see any children. Did you know that the Taliban has an account on Twitter?
Yeah.
Did you know that?
I
Taliban
joined it.
has a Twitter account. Did you join the Taliban Twitter account?
No.
I looked at it today.
You didn't click follow?
How does that
How
happen?
many followers does it have?
How does that happen? Millions.
Millions?
Yeah. How does that happen when former President Trump isn't on Twitter, but a terrorist organization who's not being represented by the pronouns is on Twitter?
Well, now they're in the United Nations. So
I didn't even think you could be on Twitter without announcing your pronouns.
Yeah, right. Do they have a blue check mark?
My pronoun is bitch, bitchier, bitchiest.
Mine is ho.
Ho,
Ho.
hoer, hoest.
Right.
Those are my pronouns. And I don't mean to make fun, but good Lord. Taliban is on Twitter. We can prove it. If you have a Twitter account, go and look. I'm not making this shit up. You can't make this shit up, because this is where we live, in a country that bans former President Trump, but lets the Taliban have a Twitter account.
Of course they do.
Can we get some kind of, I don't know.
2021.
Right? And Biden is at Camp David taking naps and eating ice cream. Yeah, he sure is. I want to play this for you. I wanted to play it yesterday, but we didn't have the link. But today we have it. This is from July. This is President Biden from July 7th, I think. It was like the first week or two of July. He had a press conference. These are excerpts. This is not edited. And I'm going to let you listen to it.
Nobody's ever going to hold him to this, are they?
Taliban takeover of Afghanistan now inevitable?
No, it is not. Because you have the Afghan troops have 300,000 well-equipped as any army in the world, and an air force against something like 75,000 Taliban. It is not inevitable.
Mr. President, thank you very much. Your own intelligence community has assessed that the Afghan government will likely collapse.
That is not true.
Can you please clarify what they have told you about whether that will happen or not?
That is not true. They did not reach that conclusion.
So what is the level of confidence that they have that it will not collapse?
The Afghan government and leadership has to come together. They clearly have the capacity to sustain the government in place.
And do you see any parallels between this withdrawal and what happened in Vietnam, with some people feeling?
None whatsoever. Zero.
Wow.
What you had entire brigades breaking through the gates of our embassy. 6, if I'm not mistaken.
Oops.
The Taliban is not the North Vietnamese army. They're not remotely comparable in terms of capability.
Oops.
There's going to be no circumstance where you see people being lifted off the roof of a embassy of the United States from Afghanistan. It is not at all comparable. So the question now is, where do they go from here? That the jury is still out. But the likelihood there's going to be the Taliban overrunning everything and owning the whole country is highly unlikely.
Oops.
That didn't age well, did it?
No, it lasted what, 3 weeks?
That did not age well. Again, that was from, I do believe, the second week of July at a press conference. Yeah, the Afghan government. Listen, you know where the Afghan president is today and his family?
Oh, yeah. I have that in my 5 minutes.
They just flew into the United Arab Emirates.
Right.
Yeah, that's where they are. They vacated the country like rats running from the ship that's going down in the middle of the ocean. That's where the Afghani president
He brought
is.
4 cars, a helicopter, and $169 million in cash with him.
The Afghan president to the United Arab Emirates?
Right. He brought a helicopter with him.
Well, everyone needs their helicopter.
Right.
You never know when you're going to have to go up and do a traffic report. Did you know that Rob Astorino started out as a traffic reporter? He has a broadcast journalism degree from Fordham University. And Rob Astorino, who we had on earlier in the show, started out doing traffic in a traffic helicopter.
Crazy.
I wouldn't have wanted to be one of those guys up. I don't know how many. There have been a couple of traffic reporter helicopters that had crashed. You could go in the wrong direction, the wrong tailwind, and that thing goes out of control. But
especially if the weather, if it's just the traffic. But.
Yeah, that little press conference there by President Biden, but no one will go back to that. No one.
The
will
funny
talk
thing about that press conference, it's so recent. Even Joe remembers what he said. I mean,
no, he doesn't. He looks like. Can I just
Joe
say,
remembers I said that.
He looks like.
He looks better in his blue suit.
I hate to say this. He looks like someone that you say, "Hey, Grandpa, is it time for your milkshake? And can I have the car keys?
Right.
Because we don't want you driving anymore."
We have a couple of 80-year-olds running the country right now.
And I don't want to be, I'm not ageist. I don't want to be disrespectful to those that are my senior. I have full respect. But he doesn't even look like he is with it. Does he? First off, he doesn't even remember that it was the North Vietnamese. He started to say South Vietnamese. I know it's really crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Can't keep that North and South, separate. I mean, but that's the situation.
Well, apparently they didn't hire competent people either, because whoever came up with that plan was a total disaster.
And of course, the Taliban had their first press conference since taking over, and said that women will be allowed to take part and within the framework of the Islamic law. They'll be able to take part in the politics and within the framework of Islamic law. And exactly what that means is unclear. I don't know exactly what that means, but we do know that every advertisement on the side of buildings and every billboard was washed clean that had females' pictures that weren't fully covered in burqas.
Mm-hmm.
Those were gone. I do believe they shot a woman that was not wearing a burqa and was not fully covered yesterday. We've all seen the pictures. I don't have the picture, but in their first news conference and taking over, they said they'll be allowed to work within the framework of Islamic law. Maybe that just means, hey, we're saying it, but we don't really mean it. But to get the stupid Americans to shut up, because we know that they should believe everything the Taliban is saying.
Mm-hmm. It's going to cost us billions of dollars to get our people back. Billions.
I know. I don't even want to.
And then they're going to use those billions just like Iran did, and they're going to go make a nuclear weapon that they're going to use against us.
There's Marco Mattia. Hey, Marco, how are you? Marco is building that cute little ranch over in Greece off of North Greece Road, but it's 419 Buttonwood. And he's building the ranch. The framers are there. They've been framing this ranch. I have it listed for sale. And it is an 1,866 square foot ranch. So, hey, Marco, we are actively working on getting you some buyers for that.
Even as we speak.
Even as we speak, we are working on getting you buyers.
24/7.
Right? So it's a ranch. It's a much wanted ranch. Hilton School District, Greece.
$175.
That's
cash.
Yeah. That's it. That's all. But yeah, so 8 months in office and Biden has created the worst foreign policy crisis ever.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got the Mexican border and you've got the Afghan crisis.
I thought Jimmy Carter was the worst president I ever saw, and he looks like
nicest man.
Yeah.
I've met a president, and Jimmy Carter was the president that I met.
Really?
He came through Kansas City when I was working in Kansas City on a radio show, and he was doing a book tour, and he stopped in Kansas City during the book tour, and they brought him into the radio station, and he was interviewed on the station that I was doing mornings on. There was a guy that by the name of Randy Miller, and he did the morning show there. I was his sidekick, and Jimmy Carter came in. He had his entourage, nicest man you could ever meet, worst president ever.
Well, second worst now.
Well, exactly. Do you have five?
I do.
The take from Tom.
Well, you already took one of them.
What? The Taliban, the Afghani president.
The Afghani president.
The Afghan. Yeah,
he has a helicopter.
Well, you said that.
Okay.
How is Kamala doing? No one's heard from Kamala.
Well, Nancy Pelosi yesterday, she made a statement, and she said that President Biden was strong and decisive in his leadership. And then she went to immediately indirectly blaming Trump for the problem. So that was nice to hear.
Wow, 20 years of a problem that Trump spent 4 years in office, but it's his fault.
Right.
Okay. So this is a 20-year problem that I do believe that Biden was vice president for 8 of those 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
How is it Trump's problem again? I'm confused.
I don't know, because they hate him.
I guess.
Okay.
Go ahead.
The whole Afghan president, he was accepted into the UAE, United Arab Emirates.
Yeah.
Based on humanitarian grounds.
Okay.
Humanitarian grounds. It wasn't the $169 million in cash he had with him, but it was based on
$169 million. What did he use to carry all that money?
I don't know.
Is that like a briefcase?
He had, apparently the helicopter was full of cash.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I thought helicopters had weight limits. Apparently not.
Well, this one was on a big plane.
Okay.
Couple of lighter things. A new flavor of Girl Scout cookies. Have you heard?
Ooh, no. I love me some Girl Scout cookies.
Lori's not going to like this, but because she's not a big fan of the caramel. Do you like caramel?
I do like caramel. Do you say caramel or caramel?
That's why I said it both ways, because
Okay.
I didn't want to insult you.
Right.
But this is the
I'm so easily insulted.
This is the caramel brownie cookie. It's going to debut in its 2022 season.
See, I'm a simple girl with simple
You like
likes.
just the Thin Mints?
I like the Thin Mints.
I like those what are they? The yellow ones.
Okay, the lemon?
The lemon. Yes, the lemon ones. Those are good. Okay, McDonald's.
We should get Prevagen as a sponsor.
I need a lot of things. McDonald's is adding a glazed donut to their breakfast menu September 1st. Glazed donuts at McDonald's.
No, I say do what you do. Leave the donuts to the donut makers.
And Dunkin' Donuts, inversely, is having a plant-based breakfast sandwich.
No.
So here McDonald's is going donuts.
Nope. No.
And Dunkin' Donuts is going plant-based breakfast.
I would be happy.
Sandwich.
I would be happy if McDonald's just did nothing but hash browns.
What the hell's going on here?
I would be happy if they did. Because I could
nothing but hash browns.
I could eat the crap out of those hash browns, man. Those hash browns are good at McDonald's. I'll just say that the hash browns are good. But on the flip side, no, you do let the donut people do the donuts.
Right.
Let
Starbucks do the plant-based breakfast sandwiches.
Yeah, leave it to Starbucks because they're, that whole ilk.
Right.
Jimmy Carter, worst president. Joe Biden says, "Hold my Metamucil."
Right. So I am
That's
looking
pretty funny,
forward.
Barbara.
I am looking forward to having a donut at McDonald's. You got to have at least try it, right?
No.
You're not even going to try a donut?
Did Jimmy Carter sell you any peanuts? He did not. But you remember Billy Beer, right? His brother had the
Yes.
Billy Beer.
I never had one.
Never had a Billy Beer.
I never had a Billy Beer.
I've got one at home. My dad had a Billy Beer. We never
Really?
opened the can. No,
Oh.
you don't do that.
So they've been talking
Keep it
about
for
this,
years.
the real estate market being so hot and the use.
The 14617. Did you see the big article? 14617 is the big
hottest market in the
hottest
country.
market. I say right now the hottest market is over on Buttonwood, where I have a to be built
Right.
ranch home.
course it is.
That could be yours. You pick all the finishing touches. Go ahead.
If anybody wants to buy the building that the We the People podcast studios are associated with,
14617
14617.
for a price that can be yours. I guess.
Come at me.
So they love. What I understand is they love all the old houses in Irondequoit.
Well, that's what we got.
The gumwood trim.
Should I ship my mom to a nursing home now? That would be wrong, right?
Does she live here in Irondequoit?
She does. 14617.
Why hasn't she sold her house?
She's lived in the same house since 1960.
Get out.
Yeah, she tells me it's going to be my problem.
You know, well, it'll be our problem when we put it up for sale.
Well,
Sabine, that was my zip code, and you sold my house. Yes, I did. I sold Sabine's house back in February or March for a pretty penny.
Yeah, that was a great sale.
It was.
So anyways, the used car market for the last 3 months, the
used car market is awful. And by the way, when you go to try to rent a car, because the used car company,
brutal.
That trying to rent a car will cost you quadruple what you paid for it 2 years ago if you ever rented a car. For us to rent a car for a week in South Carolina, it cost us almost
$17,000.
$800.
Wow. Well, that's not bad.
Okay. 2 years ago,
$100 a day.
2 years ago.
Well, you got the insurance. You didn't need to get the insurance.
I didn't get the insurance. I never get the insurance. 2 years ago, rented a car, same time frame. We flew into Charlotte. I rented a car, $200.
Did you pay the $12 a gallon gas because you forgot to fill it up?
No. $800 because they say there's not that many. They can't get used cars. So if they can't get used cars, they can't.
Yeah.
So anyways, they don't have as many cars for you to rent. 3
straight months, the price index raised greater than 7.3% for 3 straight months in a row. That was this big boom for used cars.
Right.
And they said that the bubble has burst because it was flat this month. Well, it doesn't mean the prices went down. The used car prices are still high. It's just they're not higher.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Okay. Then last,
I never buy a used car. You're always getting someone else's.
I do.
problems.
Why not?
You're getting someone else's.
They say that's your best deal to buy a 2-3-year-old car because
you sound like a former partner of mine.
Because the depreciation, let the person take the depreciation off the used car lot.
Yeah.
But off the new car lot. But houses are stark houses. Yeah. Me and my houses. Cars are selling over sticker now. So technically,
I'm not paying over sticker for a car.
People are paying over sticker for cars. Okay, the last thing on my list. They came out with a new list. They keep updating it. The 50 best punk songs of all time.
Punk?
Punk. Are you a punk fan?
You don't strike me, Tom, as a punk
Top 5.
guy.
Top 5. I hadn't heard of 2 of them. Not a clue. Okay, you would think that the top 5 songs of any genre, you would at least know what they are.
Sure.
Right? Okay, number 5, Bikini Kill by Rebel Girl. Bikini Kill.
I've heard of Rebel Girl. I don't know what Bikini Kill is.
No, it's the other thing around. I think it's Rebel Kill by Bikini Girl.
Okay.
I don't have my glasses.
I have no idea.
4 is, hold on. I Want to Be Your Dog by the Stooges. Have you heard of that?
I've heard of the Stooges. I'm not familiar
with
it.
And then the top 3, I think, are obvious. London's Calling by the Clash.
Of course.
Blitzkrieg Bop by the Ramones.
Yeah.
And Anarchy in the UK by the Sex Pistols.
Of course.
But how is it the top 5 of anything?
Did you ever watch the movie Sid and Nancy? It was probably one of the best docu-music movies.
Yes.
You've never watched Sid and Nancy, the movie? It really, you know who Sid and Nancy are from the he's from Sid Vicious.
Sex Pistols?
Yeah.
Sid Vicious?
Yeah, and she was a groupie, Nancy Spungen. Yeah, it was, but if you're not, you should watch it.
Okay. I'm writing it down.
I don't know if you would even really understand.
I'm watching a documentary on UFOs right now. So, so that just goes to show you where I am. And we're watching something. Lori and I are watching. So, Nancy. What's because you said Nancy?
Yeah.
Frankie, Grace and Frankie.
Yes.
New episodes are out.
I don't watch that.
You don't watch Grace and Frankie?
I don't.
Okay.
That is Lily Tomlin and Jane Fonda, right?
Fonda.
Lily Tomlin and Jane Fonda are in Grace and Frankie.
And the Sheen and some other guy.
Martin Sheen is in that.
Yeah.
I don't know why I don't watch it.
It's funny.
It gets great reviews.
Yeah, it's fun.
I don't.
And then there's something else we were watching last night. I don't remember what it was. Well, anyways,
I'm watching The Stand.
The Stand.
Yes.
Got to write that down. The
I
Stand.
finally got, you know how I love this. Hanoi Jane. Yep. There you go.
Are we making a stand?
Bikini Girl. I just heard of them because I watched the 90s pop series on Netflix. I think they are Brit pop. Okay. Very good, Patty. We appreciate that. Someone wants to know if we're going to be on at 4. We are not.
We're just going to keep rolling right through.
We are not going to be on at 4 today. We kind of changed our time around because Rob Astorino had time available to talk to us for 20 minutes at 2:00 today. So we I would like to do every day at 2, but it's just not going to work out because Austin has to go to school.
Austin is aspiring to be something other than just what he does with us.
There's Austin. There he is right there.
Hey, I'd keep doing this. Pay me more.
Well, when I win the lottery, when I win the lottery, we will pay you more.
Got to be in it to win it, Kimberly.
Can I make an announcement? I thought my daughter, and I will give you just a real quick rundown of how this happened. So my daughter went 2 years. She went a year and a half down south, played lacrosse for a Division I Big South team called Winthrop, and played lacrosse down there. She went down to school in 2016. After a year and a half, it wasn't really for her. She wanted to come back up here. So after a year and a half, she moved back up here, was unable to, in order to go to a AA school, she had to go back to community college. So she did a semester, played lacrosse at MCC, took a full 14 hours at MCC, then went to Roberts Wesleyan and had only a couple of hours left to do. So she kind of got behind. She took a whole semester off. She got behind and she took 2 classes this summer. And we thought she had another 6 hours to do. Turns out, talked to her counselor at Roberts Wesleyan, and she is done.
Wow.
She has graduated with a bachelor's degree in criminal science and forensics and will receive her diploma in the next couple of days.
So she was on the 5-year plan like me?
She set a whole entire semester out. So she only went, so she came back from South Carolina and then didn't go to school for a semester and then went a semester at MCC and then transferred to Roberts Wesleyan. So in that whole time span, she kind of got behind because of that one semester that she didn't take any courses. So now she is a college graduate. She is the second Ray girl to go to college and graduate.
Who was the first one?
I'm the first person
from Bruckner, Missouri.
From Buckner. Thank you. I know. Thank you, Patty.
Congratulations.
So my girl is now a graduate of Roberts Wesleyan University. We couldn't be more proud.
So when's the big party? You got to have a graduation party.
Well, that's what she said. I said, when I get the diploma, and she said, Mom, I'm not going back in December to walk across the stage. I'm not going to do that. And I'm like, you've just deprived me of watching my daughter get her college degree. But I guess it just matters that she has a college degree. So she is the second person in my family ever to graduate from college with a degree.
Nice.
Yes, we have student debt.
C's get degrees?
Yes, she is a 4.0 student. She was a presidential scholar. Yes, she did have scholarships. She had academic and athletic scholarships, but we still have debt. I am currently paying that. I do not ever want her to pay any of her college. Within the next 2 years, it will be completely paid off if I keep playing my cards right and keep selling houses. Again, if you'd like to sell your house.
Shameless plug.
I can
hire Kimberly she could pay off her daughter's student debt.
Yes, but I can sell your home.
And she will also give you a puppy.
A puppy.
Yeah. Kimberly gives out puppies for every one of her clients.
Kitties. So yes.
Kitties and puppies.
Oh, look, Lori's saying congratulations. That's very nice of you. But anyway, we are super proud of my daughter. I never doubted that she would graduate, but she's smarter than I am. That's for damn sure. She's way smarter than I could ever be.
We always want more for our next generation than we were able to accomplish.
I am a generation and a half out of welfare. I mean, I did not come from wealthy parents.
I swam in the river.
Exactly.
There you go.
I had a black and white TV up until 1975.
Yeah.
Black and white TV? Yeah. All right, that's going to do it for Kimberly's Revolution.
We thank Mr. AAA, Rob Astorino, for coming on the show today.
The authentic, accomplished.
If you need help, call
Astorino.
AAA.
That's right. Well, the state needs a lot of help. Make sure you tell all your friends about Kimberly's Revolution and the We the People Podcast Network. Make sure you share this with as many people as you can. I think Rob Astorino, he has a good shot of winning. He almost beat Cuomo in 2014. I think we can put Rob Astorino in the governor's seat in Albany if we all come together and work hard. We cannot keep doing the same thing over and over with electing these Democrats to the governorship in Albany. We
check your invites, people, for crying out loud. We send out thousands of invites. Check your damn invites.
Share us. Listen to us wherever you get your podcast. Of course, we're on YouTube. I cannot guarantee that we're going to be on YouTube.
We love YouTube.
We do, but I don't know if any of the vaccination talk is going to get us dinged. But you can hear us on Apple Podcasts. You can hear us on all the platforms where you find your podcasts, and you can see us on Facebook as well. And again, that's going to do it for a Wednesday. We will be back on Monday with another Kimberly's Revolution to start off a brand new week. And as always, we say,
God bless. Be kind to others.
Rejuvenate, restore, refresh, and heal. At Fantuzzo Acupuncture, we seek to help achieve effective health and wellness in an elegant spa-like atmosphere. Fantuzzo Acupuncture specializes in traditional acupuncture, cosmetic anti-aging acupuncture, acupressure, cupping, CBD topical creams, and more. Approach healthcare holistically. Visit FantuzzoAcupuncture.com to book online today. FantuzzoAcupuncture.com.
From attic to basement, we're here for you. It's quality service in all we do. Call Taylor. 500 help.